The world is more connected than ever, and we're becoming increasingly aware of how technology impacts our planet. Now is the time to lay the energy-efficient foundations of the future. NexOptic's patented and patent-pending Alice AI solutions are the proven choice to reduce bandwidth, storage, and ultimately energy footprint of video streaming at the edge, the cloud, and everything in between. At NexOptic, we see the big picture and dare to envision a brighter, greener tomorrow.
Well, everyone, welcome to the NexCompress Live AI event. I'm Kevin Gordon. For those of you who don't know me, I'm VP of AI Technologies here at NexOptic. And at NexOptic, we build vision AI products, software products. NexOptic has been doing these AI software products since 2019, when we first introduced our low-light solution for mobile, automotive, and other industries. And since then, we've grown our technologies to include a whole host of solutions across edge and now cloud markets. We have a FDA-approved deployment of our Alice enhancement for a medical imaging device. We've signed further MOUs with other medical imaging device companies. And today we're going to talk about NexCompress, our bandwidth-saving AI solution. So this is a presentation where we'll walk through about 10 minutes of slides. It's an interactive presentation. For those of you who are on mobile, you're probably going to want the mobile PDF. That's down in the links in the video description. It's meant for desktop. It's meant for full screen to really, seeing is believing. Afterwards, after the presentation, we will go into a Q&A. We'll answer some FAQs, and we'll be keeping an eye out in the comment section as well. So please, if you can, feel free to leave us a question, and we'll try to get through it today, and if not, we'll do our best to address it in the near future. So sit back and let's dive into our presentation. So before we get into it, a brief disclaimer. Excuse me. I won't go into all of this, but please do read the disclaimer and standard practice. So what are we excited to share here today with you? The big, bold headline is 10 to 60% savings. And so this is the NexCompress opportunity. We want to save customers streaming and storage and ultimately energy costs as well. So we know that big household names are spending billions of dollars annually in the streaming sector, but it goes beyond just content providers. There's all sorts of different ways that video is streamed across the web. And really, this is contributing to billions of gigabytes of streamed video content monthly. So before I get into the specific solutions, a bit about NexOptic. If you are new to the company, I mentioned we do AI vision software products. We're a Canadian company headquartered in Vancouver. We have a Korean subsidiary, NexOptic Asia, and we're publicly traded in Canada, the US, and Germany. It's worth mentioning that we have brilliant patent attorneys out of Silicon Valley. We have 7 patents granted, 9 pending, and of course more anticipated as we continue to grow our product offerings. And what are those product offerings? All of our AI vision software products are under the Alice Vision Suite. So this Vision Suite is really meant to transform images and videos in real time. We want to do that to deliver better bandwidth, better AI performance. We've shown this previously. If you haven't heard about it before, we can boost things like classifiers and license plate recognition, etc. algorithms by multiple 100% over baseline performance, and of course deliver better image quality. Key markets are mobile, consumer, medical imaging, I mentioned a commercial deployment there, security, CCTV, as well as generic streaming. It's a big term. We'll talk a bit more about the specific types of streaming later. And where we started in 2019 was really optimizing for low-powered, battery-powered devices, had to execute on the edge, and so as a result we developed high-performance real-time deep learning core, which powers all of our Alice solutions on our partner platforms like NVIDIA. We're part of their partner system there in the Jetson ecosystem. Partner platforms like Qualcomm, you'd know them in mobile devices as well as their server and automotive products. And also ARM, that powers most of the chips on these types of devices. And that heritage on the edge has really led to us having very high performance solutions in the cloud, enabling an economic solution for us. And NexCompress is the latest offering in this Alice AI suite. So what is NexCompress? NexCompress is NexOptic's answer to this exploding bandwidth issue. It helps AI video compression. It doesn't do compression itself, although in a sense it does. But really what it's meant to do is be a plug and play with existing technologies. That's a key point. It's a key differentiator for us. You don't have to change the whole pipeline. NexCompress drops in and gives you that 10 to 60% reduction in bandwidth, all while preserving visual fidelity. And it's patented and patent pending. And of course, I mentioned streaming. Yes, that's video streaming, that's CCTV security. There's also mobile storage, etc. Lots of video out there. And what we're excited to share with you today is how NexCompress performs on top-tier, high-quality content. And so we've demonstrated NexCompress reducing bandwidth using Netflix's open source content. Whether you're on the PDF or on the live web presentation, I encourage you to click on the links and read a bit more if that's something you're into. But the takeaway here is with Netflix's open source content and their video multi-method assessment fusion, or VMAF, quality metric, we can show how NexCompress performs on the highest grade studio quality video sources. And that was really a goal for us coming from Edge and CCTV. That area, typically you'll have more artifacts in the streams. There's different kind of constraints in the system and goals of these systems, very different from a content service provider or a streaming service provider. And so Netflix open source content was ideal for this. In their own words, this is a common reference for prototyping bleeding edge technologies. And similarly with their VMAF, this score, really what this allows us to do is process videos and score it with a common benchmark developed by Netflix. In fact, this score is an Emmy-winning visual quality metric. So it has high regards and is ideal for us to test in this specific benchmark. Also worth mentioning, significant sample size on this. It's quite a large data set. Lots of data came out of this testing. Without driving too deep into the details, what we're looking at here is NexCompress's performance across a range of different videos and settings. So each one of these colored bars is a different video, and the y-axis, the up and down axis, is how much reduction you're going to get on these videos if you use NexCompress while delivering the same quality. And so we'll see a range here between 10 and 60%. Of course, in some cases it's going outside of those bounds. We have some where we're doing a little less than 10 and some where we're doing a little more than 60. Feel free to go in there and look at it yourself. And this is going to depend on the content of the video as well as the settings that you choose for streaming it. To give an example of what I mean by different settings, you can deliver video in a video stream at different bit rates or bandwidth. How much data do you need to transmit a video? And so you can see across the range here, this is one specific video at a number of different settings. And the y-axis in this case is the quality. higher score means better quality. And on the x-axis, going towards the right, is more bandwidth. And so if you look at it in terms of same height on the curve, these would be two videos with the same quality, but you'll see that NexCompress uses far less bandwidth. Or another way to look at it is for the same bandwidth, you can get a much higher quality video. And of course, you can mix and match those if you want less bandwidth and higher quality. That's possible with NexCompress as well. So this shaded area here rarely represents the value that NexCompress is providing on these high-end video streaming applications. So the takeaway is that NexCompress reduces bandwidth without compromising quality. And yes, it depends on content, but the expected savings is in the range of 10 to 60%. Enormous, enormous. I might point out that Google's DeepMind put out a paper using AI for video compression. It would have been about a year ago. And they were seeing 5% bandwidth reduction with their technology, and it was lauded as a great leap forward in video compression. For quality, if you're viewing the web version of this presentation, we really do encourage you to go to this slide. We've included some of the sample video clips from this data set. You'll see there that the original video is just under 7 megabytes, and the NexCompress optimized is about half of that at 3.4. And the little slider here allows you just to swipe and inspect the differences for yourself. There's 3 example videos here. If you want to see more of these, just get in touch with us and let's see if we can work something out. And now I'd like to move to the live demonstration. And I will process a video here and show you, but I'd also like to invite everybody to have a little bit of a sneak peek here at the NexCompress Portal. This is a self-serve portal where we invite clients and potential customers to demonstrate NexCompress and evaluate with their own videos. This has been an enormous help for our sales team as we onboard potential customers. So today, the link is in the description. You can join the wait list, request an invite code, and we'll try to get back to you here in the next week or so, granting you access. We'll prioritize companies that are interested, of course, and of course media. But I've already got my invite code and I've already registered, so I'm going to log in. Once here, simple enough. We've tried to make this very turnkey and simple. You select a video you'd like to process. In this case, nice little video from when I was backpacking, and we'll process the video. It uploads, queues it, and should process rather quickly. The AI model preset is really the only setting we've exposed by default. The default priority should be everything you need, but if you have more of a quality type application where quality is utmost importance, or if bandwidth saving is more your constraint, feel free to change the preset. And of course you can download the video, view it on your system video player, and see for yourself. Okay, so please, we'll be keeping an eye out for anybody who joins the waitlist today, and we'll get you in there, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So we know NexCompress is reducing bandwidth. We know we're not compromising quality. We know that there's lots of money spent in the sector and lots of bandwidth being generated, but why is this important? What's significant here? I like this fact: 282 exabytes of bandwidth per month globally. That is truly, truly enormous. I had to look up exabyte. I don't know it off the top of my head. Some power of 2, but it's 282 billion gigabytes. That's a lot. Bigger than I can imagine, I'm sure, for our viewers as well. But this comprises everything from live broadcast, like sports, esports, live entertainment. Of course, there's security videos. Social media is a big source of this. And of course the Apples and the streaming services, Amazon and Netflix, etc. And it's not just big, but it's also growing. it's growing at a huge annual growth rate, and live video even more so. And live video has a lot of complexities in delivering reliable streams and lowering the bandwidth across the entire global internet infrastructure. So 10 to 60% savings on this global bandwidth usage would be enormous. So let's together reduce the impacts of this video streaming. It's not just bits. Bits, at the end of the day, are energy. So we can save bandwidth, we can save storage, and in select cases, by reducing the bandwidth, we will also reduce energy. And we want to deliver this solution either through cloud service, cloud-backed service, or an on-premise solution. I mentioned it's patented and patent pending, and third-party evaluations are underway. So that's the presentation portion. If you have any follow-up questions here today, if you'd like to get in touch, there's contact, advantage@nexoptic.com. It's big, everybody. We're really excited about this. Momentarily, we'll move over to our Q&A section of the video. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I really do hope you enjoyed being able to dive in a little bit about the benchmark that we did recently. We put out a press release to the effect. But really it was a bit of an unknown how this would perform on the highest quality content, but I was very pleased to see that the same savings we saw in other applications translate over to these really top tier applications. For Q&A period here, I have some frequently asked questions. I do see some viewer questions. Please get in there. There's still time. We'll run this portion for approximately 10 minutes, I would say. We'll see how many questions we get. Okay. High hopes. When will this be available? Why don't we have an agreement with Netflix yet? We've got actually that quite a bit. Kind of one of the FAQs. Have we approached Netflix or others, and if not, when? So I can't name specifics on who is testing our portal, who has access, and what stage of discussions we're in with different companies. But yes, some cases, some of the companies are multinationals that we're in discussion with. Big shout out to our Korean office, who has been onboarding clients and helping them through the process of evaluation and providing that feedback. And I think that's about as far as I can go. Why don't we have an agreement with Netflix? Great question. I too want to see an agreement with Netflix, so we'll just leave it there. There was a question we got regarding the portal, portal usage. We just tested a video. What do we see there? Yeah, 19% savings from that video that we just processed. So same quality, 19% savings on that video in that live demo. There's been a lot of questions actually about competition. What's the competitive landscape look like? And I like that. There's been a lot of media attention recently on AI-based video compression or AI-augmented video compression. Super exciting. Of course, it validates the track we're on. And I think that in this case, competition's a real benefit. I see, generally speaking, a few different types of main competitors. So one type would just be there's no AI, they're just doing a more intelligent way of the existing compression. That's fantastic. It's important. We wouldn't have video streaming if it wasn't for where compression technology is today. But we don't see that as real competition. We are complementary to that. Any advancements on the kind of the base compression technology we stack on top of. So those are multiplicative benefits. The second type is an AI that is choosing how these encoders work. And that is another one that's, we're synergistic with, that we're going to work with those technologies. They essentially choose how much a compression to apply to a video. And they do that in an intelligent way, and it's very successful. It's great. It's not an easy problem. So AIs in that space make a lot of sense. But again, we can complement those solutions, multiplicative benefits, perfect. And then the third type is really the groups that are going for a complete reinventing the wheel, and not all for naught. AIs have this really, really impressive, and sorry, I'm backtrack. When I say AIs, in this case, deep learning, even more specifically, these kind of autoencoder compression type algorithms, they have a really cool feature of compressing information inside their network weights. We've seen a lot of it in the news with things like ChatGPT. Somehow it's compressed the information available in the internet into its weights. It's mind-boggling. And so some companies are taking the approach that let's get rid of the codecs that are out there right now. Let's use an AI to create the code. We'll transmit the coded message and decode it on the other side according to this scheme. And that holds a lot of promise, but a huge downside of this kind of approach is that you are requiring every single device that you want to watch your videos, they need to support your software. And even if you're a company like Google or Apple and you're pushing your very favorite codec, it's going to take you, I think Google's been working on AV1 for, if it's not a decade, around that order of magnitude, and they don't have majority market share there. We're moving that way, but it takes a lot of effort to move a codec into becoming a real industry standard. And so those hold promise, but those are long on the horizon. Maybe there'll be some more announcements to that specific area in the future. And so that brings me to the what is unique about NexCompress. We're not taking any of these approaches. We're going pixel by pixel. We're in a transforming AI algorithm where we transform the pixels in real time to make the compression algorithm work better. And that makes us complementary. That means we don't need to change every device that's out there. In fact, no changes to the end user device are required. And so if you're a big streaming provider, you change your backend to include NexCompress, and your clients all just realize the benefits, and that's the end of the story. And of course, reduce bandwidth. I mean, it's not the whole story, but yeah, the benefits are reduced bandwidth, reduce costs, reduce energy. So that's my take on the competitive landscape. I guess there's also this competitive landscape of AI technology. There's been a lot around transformers, a lot around large language models, etc. We're still using convolutional neural networks. They're not going away. They're great for this application. I don't see transformers as a threat to this technology we have. That said, we gave an update during our Alice AI Day some time ago. Transformers were the hot new thing then. The landscape hasn't changed that much where we need to go back to our deep learning core right now and reinvent anything. It's very competitive. It's doing what we need it to do very efficiently. So back to commenters. Okay, let's see. Okay, I like a question by Ryan. What would the savings in dollars a streaming company would save by reducing its bandwidth by 20%? I wish there was just an easy answer to that one, but we have to look at how much of the overall cost that the streaming is, how much cost there is for that streaming company in just the bandwidth side. We don't have it available to anybody who's going to join the waitlist here today, but we do have a calculator that we can enable for advanced users of the portal. And with that, we go ahead and we can look at, say you're backing your service, your video streaming company by Amazon AWS. We've used this calculator to project costs for streaming companies and what the bandwidth reduction would be. And so it is significant. And depending on how large of a portion bandwidth is in your monthly burn, then in the limit, as streaming becomes larger and larger portion of your operating cost, then in the limit, you're going to save that much in monthly costs. So if it's reducing bandwidth by 20% and you're streaming that video a lot, you're going to reduce your cost by 20%. But if streaming is only a small component of your overall burn, then not as large of an impact. I'll take a tangential one. You didn't ask this one, Ryan, but same thing on the energy. And so we know that there's a cost for this processing. Deep learning algorithms are not cheap. We make very efficient ones, but there's still that kind of upfront cost. And then really the way I see it is that it's amortized over the number of times that it's streamed. And so when we look at videos that are one time and viewed, potentially millions of times, those videos are ideal candidates for that energy savings component, as the amortization of the upfront costs over the total video delivery approach the limit of the same as the bandwidth reduction. Okay. I hope that helps. We know that Netflix is spending, this is dated, I think it's 2019 report we had our eyes on, and it was $30 million a month US to Amazon Netflix pays. And that is for their operating costs of all their cloud infrastructure. And we know that a significant portion of that $30 million per month is on streaming. That's their main business. And they've grown since then, so we can kind of eyeball that one. Getting close to the 10-minute mark, I might take one or two. When is this available? So right now, in its current form, the solution is in a state that is fine to implement in a component type application, this on-premise type application. The Cloud API is not far behind. The API really allows you to sign up and use it in a standard web service type of way. That's progressing nicely. I won't give concrete numbers, but we've previously announced how we're benchmarking hardware suppliers, we're benchmarking cloud service providers, and really what we want to do is find the right fit in terms of that hardware to reduce our operating cost and deliver the most value for customers. So I'd say keep an eye out on future announcements around this benchmarking process as we're selecting our hardware and cloud providers. There's a lot of movement in the AI chip landscape, hence having to do these types of benchmarks. It's really exciting. I mean, we're seeing 30% year-over-year improvements in chips across the board, which means less power, less upfront cost for the solution over time. Benefits, yeah, we've gone over the benefits of NexCompress. I mean, really, it's reducing those costs of streaming or storage, whether that's for a business or for consumers. Why are people going to want this? Really, there's no sacrifice here. It's just the same quality by Netflix's standards, but with reduced bandwidth. Fantastic. Questions on the business model? Yeah, okay. Revenue model. It's for a streaming company. In that case, I guess it's always going to depend on the customer. But if we're looking at a large streaming company, that one there, we're going to start off by looking at estimates on aggregate usage really what you want to do in a cloud service, software as a service type business, is look at aggregate usage and make sure that you have a nice margin on top of the operating cost. And so if we're doing an aggregate usage based licensing model, that's one way to do it. Or there could be some kind of upfront pre-arrangement where we estimate usage over a 2 or 3 year period, block it out, do an upfront or a split over time, and then bring in additional licensing, anything that goes over that estimate, etc. So those are kind of the ways that we'd look at it for streaming. If it's an on-premise solution, that's different. Not always as clear how to audit on-premise, etc., etc. So there might just be fleshing out what is the aggregate usage expectation, and then doing like a bulk license or a one-time license there. So it depends on the streaming company, depends on the size of the deal. We have a great team to be able to look at these things on an case-by-case basis. So it's not a flat number across the board, although we are looking into making a general availability for any developer to add this to their application. And that one there would just need a simple based on usage billing, and that would be closer to just a set number. Okay, last question. Thomas Sommer, is it possible to increase the quality of a video? I like this one. So I think this is kind of like I'm streaming kind of lower quality video. Can I maybe increase that quality going through NexCompress? Definitely, that was the original, kind of market driver for NexCompress. We had these algorithms that were really focused on sitting really close to the camera, deep integration in the camera firmware, and but we had a lot of customers coming to us that were saying, I can't access that part of the product, or it's just not possible with these chips. Is there anything you can do with the video coming out of my pipeline? And so we took a look at it, and that's how NexCompress was born. Let's try to enhance video after it's gone through all these other various stages. And so, yeah, depending on the video source, we can remove those artifacts, increase quality, and depending on how you want to deploy it in the specifics, you can do kind of like a reconstruction phase, where you're actually, adding in details. Like a super resolution would be a really great idea there. Not suitable for all applications, but certainly can provide benefit. On something like a Netflix, coming out of the studio source kind of quality video, we're not going to boost the quality on that. Really, we're just going to try and not to hurt it. This is that's kind of the main aim there. I see more questions coming in. It's fantastic. Please do not hesitate to put them in there. We're going to take them. We'll revisit them and try to address them either in a future live demonstration or live presentation like this, or through our news releases or investor communications. So I think we're getting close to time here. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. A reminder that this video will go live to be able to be rewatched. We'll try and get that up shortly after we end the stream. There's all sorts of links in the description. There's a new NexCompress page on the NexOptic homepage. There's the portal, sign up. I'm going to cut off sign-ups here later today for the wait list. There's this live presentation. Go in there, check out the videos for yourself. Check out the data. It is interactive. We like kind of showing off the data if you're into that. Get in touch, and we can, who knows where the discussion will go. I'm just going to double check my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything before we sign off our stream here. No, I think that's everything, everyone. Thank you again, genuinely, for joining us today. Thank you for supporting us. Lots of great questions. I'd love to do more interactive sessions like this. Let's do it again soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.